Hello, I'm Kristen Oaks-White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. While farm tours are nothing new for us to feature here on this show, in fact, agritourism is a huge business that's growing across the country. But this week, TWILA's Karl Wiggers takes us on a tour where the guests weren't farmers from another state or dignitaries from around the world. This week's farm visitors are Louisiana Farm Bureau agents from across the state.
The future leaders of Louisiana Farm Bureau's insurance company are gathered on this farm in St. Martin Parish. According to State Sales Manager Karl Wiggers, this field trip is crucial for these agents.
You know, it's one of the most important things we can do as an agency force to really showcase what the Federation is all about and the importance of agriculture in Louisiana.
Louisiana Farm Bureau Commodity Coordinator Andy Brown helped set up the farm tours with Louisiana Farm Bureau leaders. He says the farmers were excited to welcome these agents to their farms.
When I called the farmers about this, asked them to participate, our farmer leaders, it was like, wait a minute, why have we never been doing this? And that's awesome. You know, it's just finally putting the pieces together and take action is what we're really excited to see being done, and those leaders from those companies are a big part of that.
For agents Graham Roberts and Rochelle Landry, this farm tour has been a great experience.
Well, I come from an agricultural parish, mostly grain and stuff like that, and so when I heard we're going to get to come see a crawfish pond and kind of experience the day-to-day, I was excited about that, and it lived up to the expectation. It was really cool.
You know, this is what the foundation of Farm Bureau is, and it's nice to be able to put that all together, and it's like a final piece of the puzzle.
Some of those crawfish aren't small because they're stunted or they ran out of food. Some are small just because they're not mature yet.
Joey Olivier is on the state board for Louisiana Farm Bureau. He farms in St. Landry and St. Martin parishes and was excited to host this group on his farm.
They now understand that the Federation is not just a board sitting out there and a group of people, but it's actually farmers like me that spend most of their time in the field and run into problems and use the Federation to solve our problems as an entity.
I've really got to learn a lot about the Federation over the last year just through the crisis we had in Concordia Parish and being able to see that they are involved all across the state. And that's what I've really tried to convey to a lot of our insureds and our members over the last year is exactly, you know, a lot of people want to know what the membership fee is about, and being able to tell people how they contribute to agriculture throughout the state in the different ways, shapes that looks, and this being an integral part of it.
I can put a little bit more emphasis on what the membership for the Federation actually does and supports everything that we put on our table to eat.
Brown says tours like this help Louisiana Farm Bureau accomplish a core mission of the organization.
Being the voice of Louisiana agriculture, and we have a sales force out there that we've not been equipping properly to be that same voice for the Federation. You know, we sell a few memberships, but ultimately just have that positive message about farmers and ranchers. That's always the end goal for us.
I am so proud of the company that we work for and the services that we provide, and it actually, I don't know, my heart is full.
I'm Karl Wiggers for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Now, if you'd like to know just how much these agents really learned on the tour, we have a fun video on our social media pages. And who knows, you may learn some valuable trivia as well. You'll find a link to that on our website at twilatv.org. Well, one thing those Louisiana Farm Bureau agents did not do on the farm was taste the bounty of the traps they were pulling from the water. But the good news for you and I is that farmers are still pulling traps of crawfish for us to enjoy. Let's take a look at some of the prices from around the state. If you're in Breaux Bridge, the crawfish capital of the world, you can visit Crazy 'Bout Crawfish and get some live for $2.25 a pound or boiled for $4 a pound. In West Monroe, Gene Cox Grocery has live crawfish for $2.49 a pound and boiled is $4.99 a pound. In Amite, Seafood to Go has live crawfish for $2.25 a pound and boiled for just $3.85 a pound. These crawfish prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which reminds you to always ask before you eat. The Louisiana legislature is in full swing in Baton Rouge right now, and there are important bills affecting farmers and landowners in the state. Those bills include waterway access to private property, solar farms on farmland, and carbon sequestration. Young farmers and ranchers have a vested interest in these issues, which is why the committee visited recently. Louisiana YF&R Chair Robert Duncan says the committee members got a lot out of their day in Baton Rouge.
We came out to the Capitol today. We've got several different bills that are on the floor right now, but we're here this morning for House Bill number 4. It's the trespassing on running waters. So you just have to worry about the issues of, if somebody's running public or running waters, and they can get onto your property via a river. What they could do to your property: vandalism, harm, livestock. There's all kind of issues that are associated with it. Right now, there's several different bills that are coming through. Solar is a big deal. I know there's a lot of property in South Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana that's going into solar farms. We're trying to just have keep up to date on those. Carbon sequestration is a really big issue. And I know personally for me, there's issues with that in Central Louisiana that's coming up.
It's not feasible to take farmland and turn it into something that we can't use to grow food. We need our land to produce. We need our land to be profitable for us. And if this is what it becomes, what do? We get the opportunity to come and let the lawmakers, legislators know how the decisions they make trickle down and actually play out. It's easy to think that something's going to work really well when you write it down, read it back. It doesn't always work out that way. We have a lot of factors that affect us and a lot of things that go into play to make us successful or not successful. And I think it's important to be able to come and relay that feedback of how decisions work out, how laws work out, how mandates work out for us.
Hopefully this is the future. We're getting these people involved and hoping that they're the future. Maybe they might be sitting up there on that panel in the future to kind of lead this state in the right direction. And they got to get here and see what happens and figure it out.
Bills on abortion and the death penalty were also being heard in committees when the YFNR committee visited, so there was a lot of activity for them to see. Farm Bureau's Women's Leadership Committee will visit the Capitol next week. Well, this week we continue our coverage of the upcoming gubernatorial election, which will take place October 14th. This week, TWILA's Avery Davidson sits down with the only woman running for the office, District 1 Senator Sharon Hewitt.
Thanks, Kristen. We continue to meet the candidates who are running for governor of Louisiana, and today we're joined by Senator Sharon Hewitt, the lone female in the race for the governor's office. Senator Hewitt, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Avery. I appreciate it.
Well, let's go back on your background a little bit. You actually had a very successful career as an engineer working for one of the largest oil companies in the world, and then that path sort of went a different way because of family and then led to politics. How did that happen?
Well, it has been an interesting journey. I like to say I've had 3 chapters in my life: my professional career, my stay-at-home mom career, and now political career. And I started out in the oil and gas business on a drilling rig in the Gulf of Mexico for my first year. And back in the day, there really weren't facilities for women. I was one of the first women that those guys had ever seen. And so there were offshore on a drilling rig. And so there were lots of challenges associated with that, but I didn't really think too much about it. I was really just there to do a good job. And over time, I believe that I earned their respect. And fast forward 20 years, I was managing Shell's Central Deepwater Gulf of Mexico business, and those guys that gave me such a hard time at the beginning of my career were actually working for me at the end of my career. And then walked away really from all of that because I felt the pull of being a stay-home mom. Our kids were in 1st and 3rd grade. Our 3rd grader was struggling with his multiplication tables, and I thought it was because I wasn't spending enough time at home. I was traveling too much. And so I came home and did all the things that moms do to make our schools better through PTA and lots of other community volunteer work. And then as our boys grew up and went to college and took jobs, I began thinking about what's next for me, what makes me happy, and how can I contribute. And I felt like for the first time that decisions being made in Baton Rouge were directly affecting me and my family in ways that I didn't like, and that if good people didn't run, we were never going to fix the problems in our state. And so I decided to run for office. No one in my family had ever been in politics before. I ran for the state senate and am just now finishing up my 2nd term. And a lot of those things that I campaigned on early on, I have been working on for 8 years. But I recognize that you can make a bigger impact faster when you're the person at the top setting the vision and building the team, for a better Louisiana.
Well, your background as an engineer, how does that play into how you would govern if you were to become governor?
Well, I think it would be refreshing to have an engineer as governor instead of a lawyer. You know, we're problem solvers, and I'm going to be all about working for solutions, delivering results, building a team that can help me move our state forward, because that's what I've done my entire career. I think if you look at, you know, my resume and my track record, whether you're looking at my legislative accomplishments, I'm the Senate Majority Leader. I have served as the chair of a national Republican organization. You know, I've written 125 bills that we've passed. I have a sense of urgency. While others are talking about what they would do if they were governor, I have actually been delivering results in those areas, whether you're talking about education, our workforce, our crime, or the economy, or even smaller government, more personal freedoms. I have been legislating on those things and have a track record. I think others in the race have had opportunities to do that and have not really done the things that they needed to do when they were given those same opportunities.
Your background, of course, being in the oil and gas industry, one of the largest industries in the state, neck and neck with agriculture. Agriculture is huge in Louisiana. How would that play, the agricultural industry, play into your plans and vision for Louisiana?
Well, of course, agriculture is one of our key industries. It is something that defines Louisiana. It is very, very important. And you know, there's a lot of technology in agriculture. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. So, you know, my passion for technology and for STEM and building a trained workforce so that we're ready for the 21st jobs of tomorrow, that is what today's farmers are all about. It is not, you know, the old days of farming. It is very high tech with you know, drones and robotics and lots of important equipment. And so, you know, I think that my vision for our state and the workforce that I hope to build with technology components to it is going to serve the agriculture industry very well.
And it's been a few years now, but you actually went to Cuba and saw some of the agriculture there and saw some of the possible opportunities for Louisiana to send rice to Cuba. What was that experience like, and how did that shape your view of agriculture in Louisiana?
Well, you know, it was kind of a throwback to be in Cuba. It was a wonderful experience. You know, we saw them plowing the fields with old instruments and oxen, and you know, you don't realize how removed an island like Cuba is until you actually go and visit. And we had a lot of farmers that were with us on that trip that absolutely wanted to partner, you know, with Cuba and do some things, particularly in the agriculture area. But they're very much isolated from the rest of the world. And although I think there are great opportunities, and we have done, you know, some work with Cuba, you know, decades ago, I'm not sure that the politics right now really will facilitate that. But we're very close to Cuba, of course, geographically, and we would be a natural partner at some time in the future when the politics were a little bit better.
Now, talking about politics, you are one of 5 Republicans in this race for governor. What sets you apart? If you were to make that runoff, what's it going to take for you to be able to be in that runoff and then prevail?
Well, thank you for that. I mean, as I was speaking of a little bit earlier, I'm a doer, not a talker. And I am really running for all the right reasons. I'm running because I want to keep Louisiana families here in Louisiana, you know, and to give them a reason to stay as opposed to a reason to leave. And we do that by talking about everyday kitchen table issues. Education, people want a good education for their kids. They want a good paying jobs. Businesses want a workforce that's local, where they don't have to go outside of our state to bring people in. They want a safe community. They want an affordable cost of living. These are not, you know, like aspirational goals. These are things that we ought to be able to deliver to our people so that we're not just willing to accept mediocrity. And so I think it takes a different kind of leader. You can't just keep electing the same kinds of people and hoping for a different result. And I do believe that I am a different kind of leader. I think that I have a track record that shows that. And I will stack up my resume either professionally, both and as a volunteer and as a legislator, with anybody else in the race. And I can promise you that we're going to have a different Louisiana in 4 years or 8 years, should it be the will of the people, than what we have been experiencing over the last decades. And so I'm ready to go. And I just need people that are interested in our campaign and want to learn more about our campaign to go to SharonHewitt.com. You can learn about it. You can follow us on email and social media, and be part of a winning team, because we're in it to win it.
You're also working right now at the state capitol. In fact, you came straight from the state capitol over here, so I really appreciate you taking the time. Senator Sharon Hewitt from District 1 out in Slidell, right, North Shore. So thank you so much and good luck in the race.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, after the break, we're going to head to Louisiana Tech to check out a cattle sale that they have there that's unlike any other. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm John Fielder, and I'm the Vice President, Branch Manager of the Louisiana Land Bank Shreveport Branch. In today's market, where interest rates are all-time low, it's very hard to find an investment that can compare to timber, something that's consistent, and typically if you manage timber correctly, it'll grow possibly as much as 6 to 8% or more. If you're looking for that loan for timber, for recreation property, for cattle, crops, call me, John Fielder at the Louisiana Land Bank.
Louisiana Tech University recently showcased some of their cattle to farmers and ranchers across the state at their annual farm production sale. But as TWILA's Breann Hendrickson shows us, the sale is not just about the beef.
I'm here at Louisiana Tech for their 50th annual farm production sale, where they have a little bit of everything for everyone, from cattle to pigs to even a market lamb. Dr. Mark Murphy, Academic Program Chair of Agriculture Science, is glad to see everyone back this year.
The first one since COVID was shut down, we let it go, and we brought it back this year. And we're selling livestock and a few donations to benefit our livestock units and our scholarship program.
This production sale offers foundation females that are ready to work for the commercial farmer.
These are our top quality crossbred females that we either sell as long yearlings being exposed to a bull, or 2-year-olds with a calf at their side.
From building your herd to also building up your meat supply in your freezer.
People like to eat, and people trust American beef. The first 11 lots are market animals, market steers, market hogs, and a market lamb. And it's really kind of a unique system because at Louisiana Tech we have our own processing plant. So when you buy a market animal today, you buy the processing.
To alum Dusty Taylor, this is more than getting foundation females and market animals. It is about the program itself.
It feels good to see these young people coming on. See, the part that nobody sees at the auction is what happened before we got here, working with these students. And it's heartwarming to see that there are still people in this country that will work, and they enjoy working, and it's fun to be around young people with a common goal, and that is to make an event be successful.
Helping this event and program be successful, but also helping students understand the agriculture industry, Dr. Murphy is hoping this program continues.
I would like to hope that in 50 years, when me and my colleagues are gone, that there's some people that have taken our place, that their primary purpose, like ours, is education. We want to teach the future students in Louisiana, and for them to see a product from start to finish is critically important.
If you would like to learn more about Louisiana Tech's agriculture program, you can head over to our website at twilatv.org. For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Breann Hendrickson.
Thanks, Breann. Coming up on TWILA, Louisiana Farm Bureau is taking aim for a good cause. But first, how is a bird connected to coastal restoration? We find out up next. Stay with us.
I'm a steward of the land.
I am growing a better future.
I am feeding the world.
I'm making the world a better place.
I am resilient.
I'm essential, and I'm still farming.
I am essential,
I am still farming.
I am resilient.
I am essential.
I am still farming.
No matter what happens, we are still farming.
I am Farm Bureau.
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 We are Farm Bureau.
Louisiana is experiencing coastal land loss, but the state has also been restoring some areas. To determine how successful those restoration efforts have been, researchers are looking at how a group of secretive marsh birds are using these areas. TWILA's Craig Gautreaux takes us to southeast Louisiana to check in on the progress.
It's important to be a good listener, but for Leah Moran and Ada Lipford, it is a requirement. The two graduate students in the LSU School of Renewable Natural Resources are eavesdropping on a group of secretive marsh birds to get a census count on how many of these creatures are located in a certain area.
Secretive marsh birds are not like songbirds that you hear during the morning. They don't really call at all. You don't see them, you don't hear them. So we have to elicit a call from them so we can see whether they are in the area.
They send out 8 calls during a 13-minute span and listen for 5 specific birds.
It will tell us an estimate of numbers of our 5 focal species, which are king rails, clapper rails, common gallinules, purple gallinules, and least bitterns.
Because of the many coastal restoration projects ongoing, researchers want to know if they are providing good habitat for wildlife native to the marsh. So far, preliminary results are mixed.
Some of the created marshes are full of secretive marsh birds and other species and are providing awesome habitat for them. Other created sites are not as much.
The environment in the coastal marshes is often in a state of flux, but major storms such as hurricanes can alter the area quickly.
There was one site that I went to that was a pretty good patch of marsh, and when I went out the year after Ida, it was just completely gone. There wasn't even any grass sprigs sticking up.
The data they are gathering will provide a baseline for areas and could be used for comparison after a major event occurs, such as an oil spill or hurricane. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
This project is expected to last years, and it's being funded from some of the settlement money from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, which happened back in 2010. Well, now it's time for our TWILA Boost, an uplifting story to put a smile on your face as you start the day. And what's more satisfying than helping young people learn about agriculture while getting to blast flying objects out of the sky? Nothing is the answer. You would hear from the participants at the 12th annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Sporting Clays Shootout in Benton, Louisiana. 18 teams made their way around Los Palomas Sporting Range for the event. The Louisiana Farm Bureau Sporting Clays Challenge raises money for the Louisiana Ag in the Classroom program, which provides educational materials to teachers across the state, and the Louisiana Farm Bureau Foundation, which provides scholarships to students who study agriculture at a Louisiana university. Louisiana Farm Bureau First Vice President Marty Woolridge says this is always a worthwhile event.
We have such great leadership amongst all of our parishes in the state. All of our parishes in the state, you know, not only is it this 8-parish area that makes this go and most of the volunteers you see here today, but not only is there staff volunteers that show up, there's leadership from around the state that have driven in to help make this go. There are donations that have come in from parishes all over the state to make sure that this is successful. It's financially successful, it prospers, we're able to. We have a heck of a shoot up here. We feed really good. Really proud today. Something else we're going to highlight today. We've got Louisiana Tech Meat Lab. What a lot of our producers are using to process their animals, they're doing our catering today.
The top scorer of the whole event was Lance Fontenot of Evangeline Parish. He hit 97 out of 100 clay pigeons. For more photos from the event, visit our social media pages or our website at twilatv.org. You'll also find links to learn more about the Louisiana Farm Bureau Linda and Wayne Zonbrecker Scholarship and the Ag in the Classroom program. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll introduce you to this year's finalist for the Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all of these stories and much more on our YouTube channel, and be sure to subscribe to us and turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we put out new content. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.